So 2022 is right around the corner, and I thought it would be a cool idea to look at 2021 as a whole for Hearthstone Battlegrounds, how things have changed, what was broken, the new patches, what got introduced, and just see how far we've come this year. So whether you're an old veteran player and you want some nostalgia with how things used to be, or whether you're a relatively new player and you want to know how Battlegrounds used to be and all the weird shit and broken things and interactions that were in the game, then well, I'll bring you along on the journey of 2021. So I'm going over the patch notes, going over the metas and anything else that I could find, and talk a bit about the evolution of Hearthstone Battlegrounds. In January, we're starting off with the first patch, which is patch 12.2.1, which was just a nerf to Illustra. So Illustra was the card that whenever a taunt got attacked into, instead it attacked into Illustra, and it was a Divine Shield Reborn card on tier 6, I think. It was completely broken, completely stupid, because, you know, it saves 4 hits from your board. You can play around Cleave at 100% with having as many taunts as you want. You could play around Wind Freeze, around pretty much everything. It's pretty stupid. It got nerfed and it was still too strong, and soon after I'm pretty sure it got removed. We were in an incredibly greedy meta as well in January. Elise was still a 2 gold hero power to get a map, and one of the best heroes. You could just level discover and just go straight to tier 6. Same with Omu and Maiev, they were incredibly broken. But the meta was going to tier 6 and mostly getting like multiple Kaligis. There was a lot of games where I remember people getting double Caligos on turn 8, and that just happened so consistently. Also, Khadgar transitions was a hot debate. It was already a thing before that, but right now it was really being abused, and it was a hot topic whether or not it was healthy for the game to get like double Khadgar and then multiple token triples. I made videos about it, and it was incredibly bullshit. Then we got patch 12.4, and that was a Dark Moon prizes, so that means the spells that you got every 4 turns. It was the first event I think we really got for Battlegrounds, and it also came with the new heroes Greybow, so this enabled taunt comp to flourish with like Kiraji Harbinger. And Ticketus, which was, well, the hero that, you know, gets a spell every 4 turns. We also got a demon change, so Floating Watcher was a staple for demons. It allowed you to scale together with Wrath Reaver, so you could cycle demons and just get a massive board. The Floating Watcher, which was an essential tool for the scaling for demons, was removed, and instead we got Soul Devourer and Ring Matron, 2 cards that don't really scale because they wanted to move demons in a different direction. And that was also pretty questionable because, you know, Floating Watchers was one of the only things keeping demons actually viable. And another hot topic of January was firewall exploits. People would start disconnecting very regularly, so they would have more time during their shop phase because they skipped the combat, and people would install firewalls. And this was mainly due to Khadgar transitions and APM pirates still. It's still a thing, but it's less discussed now and less used as well, mainly because Khadgar is just gone. Also, I just realized I said patch 12 for January, but that's not true. Pretty sure I corrected it on the screen. So February comes around, patch 19.6. Quillbores are announced for April, I think. So we first get a glance of the new tribe. The tribes before this that got added were Elementals and Pirates, I'm pretty sure. So now we got Quillbores announced, no reveals yet. Dark Moon prizes are also gone. Khadgar got fixed, so the way token summons now interact with each other means you can't get like multiple triples from just a single token. Hooktusk got removed because she was way too strong. Temporarily she got added back into the game a bit later with a nerf. Elise got nerfed. Illustra got removed, as I mentioned before. The card was too strong. Arm of Empire, also a very big change, is now permanent. So before it would be just giving you +3 attack in combat with taunts, but now it's +2 attack permanently. The Arm of Empire will single-handedly enable a completely new meta, which is taunt comp, that I'll discuss in a second. And this was a massive meta switch. From being incredibly greedy, it went 180 pretty much into super tempo-ish, because the strong greedy heroes like Hooktusk and Elise got nerfed, and Illustra on 6 is gone. Arm is now permanent scaling, so now mech and taunt comp actually flourishes and is gonna be a comp that really dominates the meta, and that is just tier 3 and 4 stuff. Also, Khadgar being fixed means that there's less hardware and less greed as well. So that's it for February. Then in March we got patch 20.0. The Pilot of the Shredder got removed. Overlord Sarfang got added into the game, which is the hero that gives you plus attack. It's not an amazing hero even back then when it got released. And Baron's Blacksmith got added into the game. I don't know why, but they just threw in a Baron's Blacksmith, and the card was completely busted and just insanely strong. You hit it early, you could power level, and it's just a better spawn. That was it for March, and then in April we got patch 20.0.2. A bunch of elementals got buffed. There were some minor balance changes. The meta is still relatively the same, very tempo-ish, but now also Menagerie becomes pretty good, so you see the Menagerie meta come to fruition. Right after that we get patch 20.2, which is the big Quillbore dump. All of the Quillbores are added into the game, and oddly enough they're all relatively the same to what they are now. Like Quillbars later on got nerfed and buffed a bunch of times, but they're now kind of back in the same state that they were when released. And when released, they were incredibly strong and broken, so that also tells you a bit about the power creep and the current state of the game. We also got 3 new heroes with this release, and that was Death Speaker Blackthorn, Vol'jin, and Xyrella, who are all still unchanged. And the meta was still very tempo-ish. Now Menagerie also became really good, so with Tempo Menagerie, mainly because of Flat Tusk Agam enabling and helping Menagerie out as well. And Poison Scam Comp also becomes a thing again. So all of these compositions have always been things, but I'm mainly mentioning what was good in that month, going off like old records of things I wrote down and I saw in videos. May is patch 20.2.2, which are balance changes. A bunch of Quillbars nerfed, they were all way too strong. Blacksmith also got removed because the card was just too toxic. And I wrote down the meta is a mess. So things are happening, people are experimenting, lots of stuff playable. But I assume it's mostly tempo stuff. But it was a time where you could just triple into 6-drop, hit Flat Tusk and win the game on the spot because of how strong those interactions still were, because Flat Tusk was actually not nerfed, I think, in this one. Then we go to June, we're halfway there in the year, patch 20.4 drops, and we got Mutinous as a new hero, which is also still unchanged, and Guff, which was incredibly strong and broken. I think broken is probably not the right word, just incredibly strong and consistent. Maiev got removed because Maiev was the best hero, pretty much. You could just power level straight to tier 6 every time while getting multiple 6-drop triples with your hero power. Siegebreaker was a demon taunt on tier 4 that got removed, and instead we got Hexruin Marauder, which is not in the game anymore either, but it was just a way of replacing a useless demon on tier 4 with a demon that rewards power leveling and greedy play. And I really liked Hexruin. I'm really sad to see it not in the game anymore. And then patch 20.4.2, the Flat Tusk nerf finally comes along, and we got a Kangor's buff as well. It goes to tier 5, so this also shifts the game a bit. There's now Deferal Mech Bolts that are actually playable and people play, like Tempo Mech, triple into Kangor and just be strong. We don't have the Omega Buster yet, so there's no Deferal like scaling mech comp. The refresh comes later, but it was just Ag and Baron and some cool stuff like that. Bunch of games were just being played on tier 3 and 4, and it was still a mech and taunt comp metas, mainly because of the Flat Tusk nerf. Tripling into 6 just doesn't make that much sense anymore. July, we got patch 20.8, which is a new hero, Gertrude, being added into game, also still unchanged until now. We also got Hamul, the new tier 6 card, which enables some really cool strategies and allows you to triple a bit more easily and find like a composition. I think this was the biggest hero patch we ever got so far. So we got Galakron, Galawix, and Maiev back in the game, but all changed, and they're all still in the same state that they are right now. Although I think Maiev might have gotten another change later. So Galakron was absolute trash. He was not really played, and now his hero power could go every single turn, and that actually made him a really good hero upon release. Galawix as well was a very incredibly bad hero that wasn't in the game for a while. He was there when the game was released. Then they took him out because he was pretty shit. He basically gave like 1 gold for your hero power, but it cost 1 gold, so it made no sense. You could basically save your gold. And now we all know that Galawix is kind of good. They also made changes to Adwin, so Adwin is still in its same form right now. To Bran, Dinotamer Bran was also an incredibly bad hero, and now he's changed to, well, his current form where he gives you a Bran. Illidan just got a slight buff, Zaragoza got her buff, Guff got their nerf, so they're finally not that good anymore. Sarfang got changed and buffed, N'Zoth got a buff, Curator got a buff, Mukla got a buff, so a bunch of heroes now, like bad heroes being buffed and good heroes being nerfed. Also a bunch of minor card changes, mainly buffs to certain tribes, and Darkmoon prizes are now back, but only in 25% of the game, so in 1 out of 4 games you still have prizes now. And then we get patch 21.0 also in July, which is just Gilwing being added into the game. Then August, patch 21.0.3, Shadowwalk is back. Shadowwalk was removed from the game because he was also a trash hero. I was surprised to not see him back in July, like the previous patch with the big hero changes, but now he's back, and he was incredibly strong and broken. His hero power cost 0 gold to get a Shadowling. You could get up to 2 Shadowlings. So yeah, that didn't last too long before he got nerfed. There was also a buff to Dancing Daryl, so he's now stronger. Flurgle got buffed. Maiev got buffed because he was too weak upon re-release, and Malygos also got buffed. All of these changes are still in the game right now in their current form. Patch 21.2 is the big refresh, so all of the tribes got reworked. The scaling and the main cards for each tribe are still the same, but a lot of cards around those compositions have changed, so this is where the meta really shook up big time. Also, Avenge is a new keyword added into the game as of August, so now we have like 4 Avenge cards in the game right now, or 5 actually. Damage cap was also introduced, so now you can take up to 15 damage, nothing more until the first person in the lobby dies. We also got Master Wen added into the game, also still the same as he is, and Cariel, who was also added into the game and is still a terrible hero even when she got released. Then on to September. Now the meta becomes really quick because you can hit direction really early. So after the refresh, there were a lot of more directional and skilling cards on lower tiers. So previously you'd have to, you know, play some tempo stuff, level up, and then find something to do. You could play Menagerie, but now because of Avenge as well, there's just so much scaling on tier 3, tier 4, even on tier 2 there were great scaling cards that got nerfed in patch 21.3 in September. So first of all, Shadowwalk got nerfed because Shadowwalk was just busted. Master Wen actually got nerfed, just his odds got changed a little bit with his hero power, and now he's still in his current state. Savjz Captain got removed, same with Defiant Shipwright. This card saw play for about a month and then we've never heard of it again. It was a pretty bad card. Also some Avenge got nerfed because Avenge was way too strong. Frogger got nerfed. Frogger comp was actually incredibly good and kind of a meme at first, but as soon as people figured out how it exponentially scales and you saw the YouTube highlights, then well, people realized that Frogger just had to be nerfed. And now Frogger is still like playable but not direction anymore. While previously if you hit Frogger, you could just force Frogger Beast comp. Smuggler also was direction now sometimes to go into dragons because it was kind of broken upon release. Smuggler is the 2/5 that gives you health buffs with your dragons, and it would scale out of proportion. It was definitely a bug. Like if you have a Razor Gore, it just goes to 100 HP in 2 turns. So Smuggler got nerfed, got fixed, and then Smuggler Dragons isn't really a thing anymore. So with those changes, we go into October where patch 21.4.4 comes in, and then Buster is nerfed, so Max late game got a bit of a hit. Mackerel, another mech being nerfed, and Recycling Rave, so cycling elementals is now a little bit worse as well. But these changes were not too big. Max is still good and playable, and same with elementals. And then we got patch 21.6. I think this one people most vividly remember because it added Diablo in the game. Diablo was actually not that strong upon release, so it was... people didn't really care too much about the event. And then there was Sneed, the new hero, and Cookie both being added. Cookie is still in its current form right now. Then November we got patch 21.8, which is the armor system being introduced. Bad heroes getting more armor, so that way the pick rate might go up and win rates might be leveled out a bit more, and things are just a bit more balanced. Diablo got buffed and was able to stay longer. Normally the event should have ended here, but they made it longer and buffed him, and this was the super tempo meta where everyone died by turn 8 because of Diablo in your lobby. And this was pretty toxic and incredibly tempo heavy, so you just played like a mech or juggler comp or tank comp on tier 3 and 4. We got new hero Tamsin, which is the worst hero release to date. We got Mitrex and Turncaller back into the game because they are both taken out with the minion refresh. Now they're back. Bristleback Knight got removed at tier 5, Divine Shield Quillbore. Tank also got nerfed. The Avenge card on tier 4 was just a bit too strong, but the nerf essentially didn't do that much. The card is still a really good tempo pick. And Quillbores got a bunch of buffs because Quillbores, after their nerf a while ago, just were really bad and couldn't keep up with other tribes, while the refresh just made such a power creep possible. So Quillbores got basically back into their release state right now. And then patch 22.0 is still in November, same month. Diablo is gone, so the meta goes back from super tempo into figuring out what the hell we want to do, and that is mainly Greed. That is the meta we are in right now, if you're watching this video the day I release it, of course. Scaps got added into the game, currently still in its same form, and we got our first cosmetic board, so you can now buy boards for Battlegrounds. And then December, so this is the last month, the month we're in right now, of 2021, patch 22.0.2 is a nerf to Sneed, so Sneed's hero power costs 2 gold now, because he was strong a while ago, he was not that strong right now. Damson got buffed, still doesn't see any play. Got a bunch of other small card changes and some armor adjustments to you know, level out the heroes a bit better, and the meta is just insanely greedy and all centered around Avenge at the moment. And that is it for 2021. So from all the way back before the refresh with Elistra and Elise and all that broken stuff, and then Quillbores being announced and released, and then all these new hero changes coming through, damage cap, armor. I think overall it was a very great year, lots of changes, and I can't wait to see what 2022 is gonna bring for the game. There was a lot of cool announcements about esports being added, lobby legends, maybe a new big change coming at the start of the year, because the last time they announced gold boards as well at the start of the year. It seems like maybe they add a new tribe or do a refresh, who knows. And I know we have a lot of passionate developers working on the game right now, a lot of good communication, so I'm definitely hopeful for what's to come. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video and in the next year. Happy holidays.